Well, according to Richard Dawkins, God of the Old Testament is the most unpleasant character in all fiction. He is jealous and proud of it, a petty, unjust, unforgiving control freak, a vindictive, bloodthirsty ethnic cleanser, a misogynistic, homophobic, racist, infanticidal, genocidal, filicidal, pestilential, megalomaniacal, sadomasochistic, capriciously malevolent bully. Well, I have revised this definition and adding one or two or three adjectives and then deleting one or two more. According to me, both Yahweh and Allah are similar. So they are very much unjust, unforgiving, petty, jealous, angry, cruel, bloodthirsty, unforgiving, infanticidal, filicidal, pestilential, megalomaniacal, misogynistic, homophobic, ethnic cleanser, and racist. They are also incest loving, capriciously malevolent bullies. I sometimes wonder how people, billions of people, believe in these sorts of gods. They are totally unjust and unforgiving. While we were in the seminary, if there was particular friendship between two seminarians, that was mortal sin, they would be expelled immediately. Now these two omnipotent, almighty gods are having particular friendship with a tribe or a prophet and his people to the exclusion of all others. That itself is a mortal sin. We find Yahweh having the Israelite tribe as his own. He moves with them in an ark. He protects them fiendishly. He destroys all other kingdoms of let's say the Palestine. And he kills the soldiers with fire. Sometimes, he rolls down stones from heaven upon the people or upon the soldiers who are retreating because his army is advancing. We find in Joshua 11:21, this Allah rolling down stones from heaven upon the heads of soldiers of the enemy kingdoms. So they are petty in the sense they only want a particular tribe to the exclusion of others. They want to kill all the others. And even, these two gods were known, let's say, only 3,000 years back. Yahweh and Allah about 1,400 years back. Before that, they were not known. The percentage of humanity who knows them are still very small, not even 50% together. So their followers and their realm is very petty. But they are totally unjust in their behavior. We find that the very existence of these gods are to give commandments, rules for humans to follow, and then they are dangling some rewards up there or punishment. And the hadith of, let's say, Islamic literature tells me that 99% of all humans go to hell. And in Christianity also a considerable percent are getting burned in hell. How can merciful, if they are merciful gods or loving gods, how can they eternally roast human souls in the eternal towering flames of hell? That is totally unconceivable. Still, Islam says he is the most merciful God. I don't understand. Christianity says He is the most loving. He is love itself. I am not seeing any love or in any mercy in either of these gods. So they are unjust and unforgiving. They are cruel. Cruelty is also inclined or included in the concept which we have just now mentioned. Only a cruel God can punish their creations in eternal suffering. They're bloodthirsty. We shall see them. See, in Bible we find Yahweh, in order to settle the tribe or the people whom He rescued from Egypt, He kills the entire kingdoms of Palestine, the Canaanites, Lebanon. There's so many of these small kingdoms of Palestine like Jericho. He destroys fully. He hangs the kings for His own people. Joshua, his commander, goes and massacres them. We also find the same thing happening in Islam. Later on, after the, let's say, the revelations to Muhammad conducts conquests. Let's say, destroys tribes. His caliphates later on goes into Middle East, conquers, have bloodshed, complete bloodshed. Both the gods are bloodthirsty and millions are killed. So bloodthirsty, they are angry gods. We have so many examples in which these two gods become so angry. Once, when a number of people were peeping into the ark of Yahweh, He simply destroyed them, killed them. At one time, Yahweh kills 70,000 people of David's kingdom because David ordered a census at the advice of Satan. He kills 500,000 Israeli soldiers during a war between Judah and Israel. He simply kills them. We also find whenever these gods are angry, they are killing. See, it's a homophobic because Sodom and Gomorrah people were after homosexuality, and Yahweh sends fire rains, destroys them completely, annihilates them. When people were sinning, some people would have been sinners, others would have been good, but Yahweh sends a flood. Only Noah and his family is saved. All the rest, about 2 crore people, were drowned and killed. So they are cruel, bloodthirsty gods. They do not have any mercy, nothing on any one of them. We also find the same thing later with Allah, because Allah's conquerors, generals, they are killing millions and millions of people to conquer and to establish Islam. These two gods are megalomaniacal. They cannot live without people's worship. We find in Quran or Muhammad repeatedly mentioning to his followers that Allah is lamenting people are not worshipping Him. He wants more and more people to worship Him. Megalomaniacal, He cannot exist without the worship of the people. This is the same case with Yahweh. If people are not worshipping Him, or if people go after some other gods like Baal, He annihilates them. So many millions He has killed because they go after other gods and not Him. Both of them cannot exist without being worshipped by humans or their creations. And also we find these two gods instructs their followers to kill their infidels. In the book of Bible or Deuteronomy, we find Yahweh directly instructing His followers to kill all the infidels, even if they are your sister or brother. There are verses which depicts clearly in Deuteronomy that you can kill, even if one is your own sister or brother, if they go after another god. In Quran, there are so many verses which clearly depicts to cut off the throats or people who go away from from Allah. We find Quran 2, 191, 193, 356, 151, Quran 474, 476. There are so many verses. I do not want to quote all of them, in which Allah specifically commands His people, His prophet, to cut off the throats of those who do not follow Him, who do not believe in Him, the infidels. Finish them off. That is what is happening from those times until now. Many of the terrorists are doing that. They are chopping off the heads of those who do not believe. So these two gods are totally megalomaniacal. They're totally cruel, power-hungry. They both are misogynists. They suppress women. This we find both in the Bible as well as in the Quran. In the Quran, of course, Allah has specifically given some instruction that men are superior and women are inferior, like Yahweh. Allah gives men all authority to beat them to submission. Allah gave 13 beautiful women to His prophet Muhammad. One of them was a child. And also Allah permits Muhammad to enjoy the wives of soldiers who were killed in the battle led by him. You know, the husbands were killed and he has sex with the women in the evening. How do we understand this? Later on, you see the history of women in Islam. They were denied education, jobs. They have to wear very dark clothes in the hottest sun. They were denied everything. They have to be confined within the four walls of the house. They are child-producing machines. Even now, the situation has not changed at all. There are houses, I hear, in some of the Islamic societies where women can be punished in a prison room. Men have a number of women, polygamy, and they can divorce them. They can also go to, let's say, women for temporary marriages or prostitution. Only thing is the women needs to be paid. But woman has no right. She cannot divorce her husband. She has to be with him, walk behind him, produce children for him, look after him, give him sex whenever he wants. In the Bible, things are worse. In Bible, we find if a woman has been raped by a man, the man has to give a few shekels of silver to her father, not to the woman, and he should marry her. That is the way Yahweh sets right the whole sin of raping. If the daughter of a priest, let's say, goes for prostitution or profanes her father, she needs to be brought to the gates of the city and stoned to death. There are very specific cases where women can be sold as slaves to others. Women are always suppressed. We find there are so many stories, like the story of a concubine, where, a Levite comes into a town where an old man gives him asylum, and in the night they are having food with the concubine, and some city dwellers surround the house and they demand the Levite to have sex with him. But the old man comes and pleads with them, and ultimately they agree for the concubine, and the concubine is given to them, and these revelers from the city enjoy the concubine full night. And in the morning, the concubine, that poor woman, comes to the door of the master, and she lay down there. The Levite comes out, he sees her, and then takes her on the back of a mule, goes to home, and cuts her in 12 pieces and distributes these 12 pieces into the corners of Israel. This is mentioned in Bible. What more cruelty can be done to woman? This is very much described in the Judges, the book of Judges. We also find so many other cruelties done to women. Women have no right. And when, the first parents sinned, Yahweh finds more sin with the woman. Or St. Augustine has said, the woman is the dwelling house of devil. Women have been like that. Saint Paul, even in the New Testament, we find things like that. They both are misogynistic. They are patriarchal, male patriarchal dictator gods. There's no democracy, no love, no mercy, nothing with these two dictator gods. And there are also, some of them, there are no allusions to, Yahweh is an incest loving, but Allah, there is no particular reference. In the Bible, we find so much of incest. Lot having sex with his own daughters until they get pregnant. You find one of the sons of Adam having sex with his own mother to produce children. We find Abraham marrying his own half-sister. There are so many cases of incest in the Bible. So they are incest-loving. They do not keep to their words. They say something now, they are capricious, malevolent, bullies. Bullies are evildoers all the time. They do evil. Capricious, they cannot be, relied upon. You see, in the Bible, we find that God, this Yahweh, has been selecting Israelite tribe, carrying them or taking them forward in history for thousands of years. But later in the Bible itself, he turns against them. He sides with the Christians. And then the Christians are banishing, hounding Jews and killing them. With the destruction of the temple of Jerusalem, Jesus turns against, the son of Yahweh, turns against the Jews, the God's own people. The very covenant in the Bible was that I will protect you, but your children needs to be circumcised. This particular command of Yahweh is totally thrown away as nothing. Because in the New Testament, there is no need for anybody to get circumcised. It is only baptism with water, and then you are saved. And Yahweh has no problem. All the customs, commandments which were given there are no more to be followed. Now we find Christianity has a new theology. Somebody has redeemed humans from. So the point is, they are capricious. They cannot be relied upon. They are the most bloodthirsty. And in the Bible, I have mentioned to you, I do not know, already Yahweh is killing more than 2 crore people, according to Steve Wells. He has given a beautiful analysis of the number of people killed by Yahweh. In the flood, 2 crores, 500,000 people of soldiers killed by Yahweh in one moment, 70,000 people killed by Yahweh, David's people, because of the census. He kills people in Sodom and Gomorrah. He kills, whenever he wants, he directly daggers people down. He kills them. And there are so many other instances in the Bible where pestilences are sent. He's a pestilential God. Pestilences are still going on in the world now. There are volcanoes, tempests, earthquakes, flood, famine, everything. So we find in the whole of the Bible, millions of people are being killed. And there is no mercy from this God at all. So I cannot understand how people can believe in these two gods who are capricious bullies, constantly evildoers. They are actually infanticidal, because we find in the Bible that Yahweh sends 10 plagues to Egyptians to set free the Jews. And he is not following, or when he sends the plagues, the Pharaoh, the king, accepts, and then he sets his mind, okay, I will free them in the morning. But then he hardens the mind of Yahweh at night, and then morning he says, I cannot. Then he sends again another plague to punish him more. He is capricious. The last plague, God sends his angel to cut the throats of 500,000 children. Infanticidal. He is filicidal. We find that in the Bible itself, in the book of Job, there is actually a bet between Satan and God. by which God kills all the children of Job. And the bet is won by God, and God creates new children for Job. Just imagine a God killing the children of a man. Can we imagine that? He's filicidal. The gods are filicidal. Because we find that God asked Abraham to sacrifice his son for him. So human sacrifice was not averse to Yahweh. Now what good do you find in this God? If this God is angry, he is punishing, unforgivable, bloodthirsty, killing millions, sending pestilences, a misogynist, megalomaniacal who only wants power, dictators. How do we find what sort of help, what sort of mercy can people find from these gods? I do not know. Can you tell me? If anyone can convince me, I will definitely accept these gods. Thank you. Thank you very much.